Hello. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. This is my new hoodie that Tanya bought for me. I told her I wanted a pink hoodie and she bought that for me. Isn't it so cute? Anyway, how are you guys doing? I am doing good tonight. I have my David's Tea chapstick. I think Anita bought me this and sent it to me a long time ago. With all of my teas that I love so much. Anita, if you're out there, thank you. So anyway, it's been a good day. It's been a kind of a crazy day. I got up this morning and I had to be at the hair salon this morning, and so what I do I don't know what that was. What I do is I get up and I give PB his medicine. Oh, okay, so this is what I do the night before. I like my vlog that I've done, like when I go home, I upload it, and then I render it on iMovie overnight, so that when I get up the next day, I can just like upload it to YouTube. That way when I'm ready to make, because people are like, how do you make so many videos in a day? So what I typically do is, my vlog, I render the night before because it takes so long to render it on iMovie. You guys know I don't edit, right? So I literally just upload all the pieces, I put them all together, and then I just render it. But it takes like 2 hours or 3 hours for it to render because it's so long. It's like an hour long. So I can't do other things on iMovie while it's rendering. Well, so last night I came home, I did that, I write down my stuff in my gratitude book from that day, the things I'm grateful for, and then I say my prayers and my meditations, and then I go to bed. I take my contacts out and I go to bed. Well, I did it last night, and then I got up this morning, and I was kind of rushed, and I was trying to give PP his medicine, and he was being really difficult. It's so weird, like I cannot figure out, like, sometimes he's really good and sometimes he's really not good. Like tonight, I just gave him his meds before I left, and I gave it to him in hot dog, and he just boom, 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 just took it all. Like I split him, the vet medin, I split in half. And so it's like 4 pieces of little hot dog, and he just boom, 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 just took them all right in a row, and he was fine. And I kind of close his mouth with my one hand, but real softly, and then I like smooth underneath here, and I go, good boy, baby, good boy, yes, good boy. And then I've learned to give him like a really small piece before and after, so that like, it's kind of like he thinks it's a treat. So all in all, I'm giving him like maybe that much of a hot dog. And the vet said that was fine. But this morning, I also can grind it up and put it in food, but I'm gonna have to sit there and watch and make sure he eats his food, and sometimes he's being real difficult with the food right now. So this whole thing is, okay, so like PP, when I met him, like if I would like want him to come and lay by me, if I would like pick him up and put him next to me, he would like, I don't know why he's like this, but he would like walk away. But like if I just acted like I wasn't interested, he would like come over and sit right next to me and then want to lay, down with me. And Alex used to say to me, you can't force him to do anything. Like PP isn't like, you can't force PP to do something. You have to be, like, and I'm very gentle with the dogs anyway, but he's like, you have to let him make the decisions, right? Well, he is making the decisions with the medicine, and I don't know if he can smell the medicine, and because like he'll just like literally turn his nose away, like he is just not going to take the medicine. So this morning, by the way, I get a lot of comments in my in the comment sections. And thank you for all the suggestions that people give me, but I just want to clarify this. People are like, well, PB's cough might be because of this, or PB's cough might be because of that. PB's cough is because he has an enlarged heart, and it lays up against his trachea, and he can't breathe. So that's what the cough is about. Which is why we're trying to get rid of the cough, because if we get rid of the cough, then he has a longer chance of staying alive long term. But the cough can be so painful to dogs that once we get to the point where he's just coughing all the time, it's so painful because his trachea hurts, that's why they had to go in and make sure that it wasn't like something wrong with his trachea. that, I think I'm saying this right. I might be wrong. If you guys know about dog's heart disease, you know more than I do. But it's because he has an enlarged heart is why he coughs. It's not because of anything else. And so anyway, so I finally left. I was like, I have to go. Like, I mean, I have to be there at this hair appointment. And I really honestly wouldn't care otherwise. But like, I had missed the one before. And I just was like, I can't miss another hair appointment. So, because I was starting to feel bad. So I was like, well, I'll just give him his meds as soon as I get home. And then I was also like running in a hurry, so I didn't even go to the computer. I didn't look at it. I was like, I'll just upload it on YouTube. Because usually when I leave for the day, I upload it on YouTube. And then by the time I get home, it takes a really short time. It takes like 20 minutes. So by the time I get home, I can like, you know, do the thumbnail and put it up, my wonderful thumbnails in my vlog. I can put it up and then it's up, right? So I left and I went and got my hair cut and then, hi! I mean, it's a mess. It looked cute earlier, but it's a mess now. But I went and got my hair cut and then I'm kind of hungry right now. I don't know why. And then I went and I took Tanya coffee because she was doing bills at the kennel. So I took her eye drink. I still have coffee left. Venti cold brew with 2 equal. Tanya drinks a Venti decaf vanilla latte with whip and then 1 extra shot of vanilla. And it has to be decaf or she goes crazy. She has like such a low tolerance for caffeine. Tanya can have like a little bit of like a Coke late at night and like she can feel it till 3 o'clock in the morning. Like it'll keep her up. So she cannot like drink caffeine at all. So anyway, so yeah, so I went to the hair appointment and then I took Tanya coffee and I sat there and I talked to her for a little bit and I booked the dogs into the kennel for when we're going to Miami. And I think we might leave Boo and Tucker at home with my in-laws. We'll just have to see. So anyway, and she's like, you know, if they are there with them and it just doesn't end up working out because of the kids, she was like, Carlos can just bring them over here and like they can just end up staying here. So we can do that too. Which is a good thing because then if PP gets really sick at the kennel, Carlos can come and pick him up and take him home until we can get there. But like Alex tonight was like, do you want to leave PP with my mom? And I was like, no, because he's like getting very confused at night and I don't want him just to wander off. And he totally understood. He was like fine with that. He was like, yeah, I kind of agree. So anyway, so I booked him into the kennel and then he's just going to be with Tanya in the office and then she's going to take him home at night with her. Then I went to Meijer and I got vitamins because I was out of vitamins. And then I got a bathing suit too from Meijer. It's really cute. It's like that Neff brand. And, not Neff or Nuff. I can't remember. But anyway, they're the ones that make the socks. And it has panda bears all over it. Oh my God. So I got that. And then they also have ones that have ice cream cones and stuff. So they weren't too expensive. They were like $30 and then they were marked down to like $24. So when I get a little bit more money, I might go in there and get a few more of them. Like get another one, the one that has ice cream cones on it. We'll just have to see. So anyway, I did that and then I'm thinking. And then I went to the post office. I got like 3 things at the post office. I'll have to show them tomorrow in my vlog tomorrow. And then I went to 2 banks. I have 2 banks that I had to go to, and for 2 different reasons. And then I came home. So I get home, and it's now like almost 3. PB took his medicine fine. Oh, Tanya at the kennel. So she gave me slices of like American cheese, and she's like, I roll them up into little balls, and then I give them, that's how I give them the medicine. So I roll the medicine up into little balls. PP takes the first 3 pills and he's fine with it, and the last one he just snubbed his nose at. So then I took him out and I took Boo and Tucker out, and then I came inside and I was giving each of the dogs like little pieces of cheese, and then he thought it was a treat and he ate it right up. Oh no, did I have to give him a hot dog? I can't remember, but I finally got him to take his medicine. Whew, and we went a whole day today with not 1 cough. I was so happy. And so we got all that done. And then I went to go film my videos, and I was real excited because like my hair was done. I didn't have to take a shower. I didn't have to put on a hat, you know, whatever. I was like, I'm just gonna make my videos. I already knew what I was gonna make my videos about. I did the Q&A on my main channel, and then all this other stuff. I did a video on my Peterisms channel about my mom's last day, and I was like, I think I've done this video before. And so like I Googled it, or I searched it on YouTube, and I talked about it on here once. And then I had also read a blog that I posted on my blog, but I had never like told it like just a story. So I'm glad I got to tell that on there. But oh my God, you guys, I got so emotional. And then I did this booktube tag video that was like a combination of two tag videos. So I did that, and then but before I started filming them, I go pull my computer out to start uploading my vlog, and it hadn't rendered from the night before because my computer wasn't plugged in, because I have it like over these books in the kitchen, like in that corner, you know, by the kitchen where I film, and the what do you call it, the cord was like this, and so it wasn't like in the computer, and the computer was dead, and so it had stopped uploading, or it stopped rendering at like 20 minutes, and I still had 40 more minutes, which was gonna be like 2 hours, an hour and a half. I was like, damn it. I was like, well, good thing I started this early. So I got all that stuff done, made the videos, I was uploading them, then Alex called, and he was on his way home from work, and I was like, do you want to go get something to eat? And he was like, yeah. So we went to Cheesecake Factory. We had a really nice dinner. He bought me dinner tonight at Cheesecake Factory. And I had a grilled cheese, and he had a skinny cheeseburger with like, I guess it's called protein wrapped. That's when you get it like with lettuce or something. So anyway, and he had to go to the doctor this morning. And so Alex, because he used to work in the medical field, he gets like he goes and gets like all of like cholesterol and everything tested like once a year. So he came back, everything was normal, everything was healthy. You should get tests regularly done. We both do. Make sure that your health is in good condition. And so yeah, let's see. And I don't talk much about that on here, but that's really important, you know, like, you got to keep up with your health to make sure that you know, get preventative medicine and things like that. And I don't love going to get regular checkups at the doctor. It's like not one of my favorite things, but I do it because I think that, you know, well, having epilepsy too, I mean, like, I have to get levels taken and things like that for my Depakote levels for my medicine. But anyway, so we were talking about that because he was talking about, the doctor said something about your cholesterol level's not high, but it could be lower or something. So he's gonna, like, now he's gonna start watching like all of his cholesterol that he eats. But you know, he's been on that Optavia. He's like, that's that diet that he's been doing, and he's lost a lot of weight. But it's like soups and stuff, and it's like really high in cholesterol, like salt. I mean, it's like, so I'm sure that's a lot of why it's gone up a little. It had gone up since the last time he was there. But anyway, and then we talked about Miami and how excited we are and blah, 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 blah. One of our friends that's a DJ, who, it's funny, it's like, he was one of Alex's best, like Alex's brother Carlos's best friends in high school. There's a coyote right there. And, he was also like a patient of mine back in the day, and so whenever we see him, like, he doesn't live in Indianapolis anymore. He's kind of turned into a big DJ, but like he's so funny because he always tells people, he's like, oh, Peter was my counselor when I was in drug treatment in high school, and he's like, he's so cool, and he's like such a neat guy. But anyway, he is gonna be in Miami the whole week that we're down there, and he was like putting together this, like, what do you call it, party? It's like boat party or something. He's like, you guys should come by. And I was like, okay, so we might do that. Speaking of patients, it's like weird. He, God, how old is he now? 33? Makes me feel so old. I got a text tonight from this girl. You guys might know, like, Teresa, that's like been in my vlog, and she comes in my live stream sometimes, and she's told her story about how she was my patient back in the day. She's actually like 35, I think. And No, she's not that old. She must be like 29 because I was like looking this up. So she asked me she texted me, this is what happened. So we got home and I finished putting up my videos because they had been like rendering and uploading since I was gone. So I got that done. And then I was so tired that I was like, Alex was like, as soon as we got home, he was like, he didn't sleep well last night. He had nightmares. I could like hear him like in his like sleep last night. He was like, ah! And like he does that he has nightmares like that ever so often. So I kept on waking him up. And he's like, I slept for shit last night. I was like, what were you having nightmares about? He was like, I don't even know. He was like, but I was terrified. He's like, I woke up like 4 or 5 times. So anyway, he used to have them like when we first got together. He would have nightmares every so often. But he hasn't had them in a long time. But anyway, he's like, I'm so tired. He's like, I'm going to bed as soon as we get home. And he did. He went to bed. Like, I mean, we got home at like 8 o'clock. It wasn't even 8 o'clock yet because we went to dinner really early. We went to dinner at like 6. So like as soon as we got home, like 7:30, 7:45, he was laying in bed and he was like looking at stuff on Instagram. And I went downstairs and started uploading my videos. And like when I came back up, I was like, hey, what are you doing up there? What are you doing up there? And he didn't say anything. And like I came upstairs and all the dogs were like looking at me and like he was out completely asleep. And I was like, babe, are you going to sleep for the night? He was like, yeah, I'm just going to go to sleep for the night. And he like got up and brushed his teeth and stuff and then he went to sleep. So I did a live stream after that. Oh no, then I laid down too for an hour and it got so late. Well, and then I got up and I did a live stream at midnight. It was like, and there were actually a lot of people in there. I was kind of surprised. But it was fun. We had a good time. We sang a lot of music. Sang Stevie, we sang Janice, we sang Blondie. It was real fun. So anyway, but Teresa texted me and she was like, did you know so-and-so? I don't think that he was your patient. I think he was the other counselor's patient, but I knew he went to high school with her at the recovery high school. And I did remember him. I remembered him very, very well because this kid had been there for a really long time. And I mean, I could remember everything about him. And I said, yeah. I said, why? And she didn't text me back because I got the text like an hour and a half later because I was asleep. So I looked him up. I Googled him and he had been like in this horrible car accident this weekend and he was like ejected from the car and they couldn't even identify him. They didn't even know like who he was for like 2 days. And I guess they finally identified him. I don't know. It was weird. You know, it's like, it's so strange to me, you know, like, it's been 10 years since 10 years ago last month, since I left working in treatment. And I was there 13 years. So, you know, like a lot of these kids that I had in there, like the first year I had that they were patients in there, I was like 23. And some of them were like 18 and 19. So like a lot of them are like my age now, you know what I mean? Like not my age, but like 5 years younger than me. And so it's really weird sometimes, you know, that like I'll run into somebody and I'll be like, oh my God. And I still see them in my head as like, you know, this girl that I had in treatment that was like court-ordered years ago. And I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing now? And she's like, well, you know, my daughter just went to college. And I'm like, you what? Like, and she's like, yeah, my daughter just went to college. And I know that, like, you know, I was thinking about him and I can see him like right now thinking about him. Like I can see him talking to the other counselor, Mandy, like she was his counselor, and I can see them standing there. And like, I think that like, I can remember she had to tell him one time that he couldn't get a home pass because he got caught smoking cigarettes in his room. But like, I can like remember that conversation. And then I also remember that like, he wore these really like thick black glasses because he came from boys' school. And like at boys' school and girls' school, they had like 2 pairs of glasses. I mean, if you needed glasses, you got glasses, but like you got 2 frames to pick from, you know? And my camera's got that yellow thing on there, so it's gonna shut off in a couple minutes. But, you know, they had 2 frames you could pick from, like a thick black pair and this like brown pair. And I remember he had this like thick pair of black frame glasses. And I thought they were so cool. Like they reminded me of that, Elvis Costello. And I remember I was always like, God, I think your glasses are cool. I want a pair of glasses like that. He'd be like, they're literally like Walmart glasses for like 20 bucks. They totally suck. So sad, you know? I've had so many patients of mine that I had through the years, you know, that have passed away while I was there and afterwards. And you know, probably a lot of people that are gone, a lot of them I haven't even heard of, because, like, you know, they went to their hometowns, and most of the kids, I was the residential inpatient counselor, so like most of my patients that I had that were there for long term, I had almost all the girls. My caseload was mostly girls, and most of them were from like all over the state. I had some that were from Ohio and, you know, Michigan and Kentucky and Illinois. So, you know, a lot of them, I never found out what happened to them after they went home. But I think it just proves, you know, how really, really short life is. He was 29. I think he would have been like 17 when he was in treatment. So that means he would have been there 2 or 3 years before I oh, it just shut off. I'll be back. I hate when my camera just shuts off like that, and I can always see it first because it goes like to a black screen that says like internal temperature too high, but I know it's still filming, which is so strange to me. I don't understand why it does that, but anyway. So yeah, I just think it's real sad, you know, and it's like, I don't know. I hear people say all the time that life is short, and I talk about that all the time in my videos, how short life is, you know? And then you ask yourself the question, like, well, am I really living my life to the fullest? Like, is there more that I could be doing with my life? You know, is there, you know, what am I not doing that I could be doing? Like, what do I wish I was doing that I'm not doing? Like, do you guys ask yourself those questions? Like, I ask myself those questions all the time, you know? Like, if I was living my best life, what would that look like? And like the one thing, like I write a lot, but like I'm not anywhere near to finishing my books the way that I wanted to have them done, you know? And I feel like, you know, like if I was living my best life, that I'd be like, boom, boom, pumping 2-3 books out a year, you know? And that's the one thing that I'm kind of like down on myself about, but there's only so many hours in the day. And the other thing is that I've learned over time that you have to enjoy life too, you know? Like, I mean, life is not about just being productive and working your ass off 24 hours a day. You have to enjoy it. You have to, you know, and the thing is like, even if you're doing things that you enjoy, like writing or making videos and whatever, it's good to like just let the mind settle a little bit. Like, it was funny because yesterday, like Alex was watching that new Netflix show called The Glitch. He really likes it. And so, but like he would take his headphones off and like shout something down to me, and it was while I was working on my videos. And it was after I was done filming them. And I had turned on Wrong Turn, the horror movie. And he was like, what are you watching down there? And I was like, Wrong Turn. And he was like, why? And I was like, I just love watching old horror movies. I especially love those horror movies, like from when, like, my first boyfriend and I, we used to go to a lot of horror movies. We would go to like everyone that came out. I'm trying to think. We also saw, you may really date myself. I remember he and I going to see Titanic. He had to see it the night that it came out, and we got there, and there were like no seats in the whole theater, and so we sat in the front row on the floor, and I remember when the boat came out, we were like this. He loved that movie so much. But anyway, not just horror movies, but like all those movies back in the day, like Can't Hardly Wait and She's All That. Is that movie where they like redo her? I can't remember what that movie is on. We just watched it the other night. Bring It On. I think Mean Girls came out after all that. It's so funny when you see that Rachel McAdams that played Regina George. Like, she is such a fantastic actress. Did you guys see her in True Crime? She was in the last season of True Crime. I love that show. And she was so good in that show. Wasn't that her in that show? Rachel McAdams? I think it was. I mean, she is such a fantastic actress. She is so different in everything that she does. And I love her. I think she's such an underrated actress. People don't really talk that much about her. But like that, you know, I mean, that character of Regina George is like such a classic character. I mean, nobody will ever forget Regina George, okay? People can talk about what a cheesy movie it is and all that kind of stuff, but that is like literally a like unforgettable role. I mean, she will never be forgotten for that, right? But at the same time, it's like such a typecast role, if you think about it, that like, how would you ever get past being Regina George? I mean, every movie that you would see her in, you would see Regina George. Well, I've seen Rachel McAdams in a lot of movies, and I don't ever think of her as Regina George. Did you guys see that movie when she was on a plane, and the guy was like going to take the plane down? I can't remember what that movie was. But she's a fantastic actress, and I think, like, to be able to get over a typecasted role like that, this vlog is kind of all over the place, isn't it? It's crazy. It was weird because I was like, so I did my video today on my Peterisms channel talking about the day that we took my mom off life support, and it was crazy. Like, as soon as I was done, and I talked about it, how I had seen a cardinal before I started it, and that was kind of like my mom's sign and I to each other. But like, as soon as I was done filming it, this cardinal like flew right by the window. There's a lot of cardinals in Indiana, but it's a state bird. But still, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so weird. You know, it's so funny that that happened. And I was thinking about, like, I was really thinking about it in terms of my aunt, not my mom. But like, you know, the week that my mom died, she died on a Thursday, I think. And she died on a Thursday, and then we scheduled okay, it was short. Did she die on a Wednesday? This car is dying to pass me. Can you see? They're passing me right now. So she died on, I don't know what day it was, Wednesday or Thursday. I want to say it was a Thursday, but I think it was a Wednesday. I'm gonna look it up in just a second. Hold on. I'm getting ready to turn, and as soon as I turn, I'm gonna look it up because I want to know. Because I can't remember if her viewing was one day and the funeral was the next. We didn't do them like on the same day. There's nobody coming. Okay. It was a Wednesday. Okay, so my mom passed away on a Wednesday, and I want to start this off my thing. Hold on. So my mom passed away on a Wednesday, and so then that Thursday we scheduled the funeral, and then that Friday. So okay, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Saturday was the viewing, and Sunday was the funeral. That's how we had it planned. So it was real short, like boom, 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 boom. You know how some people wait a week? We didn't. It was like short. And because I can remember that Monday, I felt like everybody just went back to work. Everybody was like back to normal, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And it was really weird because, like, Tanya was out of town. Every major thing that has ever happened in my life, Tanya has been out of town for. It's so strange. It's almost kind of like this God thing that God's, like, telling me, like, Tanya serves a different purpose in your life than to hold your hand through the times of tragedy, which is kind of strange. You know what I mean? And so And she called me, like, when we found out that we were going to take my mom off life support. She was like, do you want me to fly home? She hadn't taken a vacation in, like, 6 months, and she had just, I mean, we knew that the time was coming. We just didn't know, like, that it was going to be that soon. And Tanya said, do you want me to fly home? And I said, no. I said, you know, I want you to enjoy your vacation. I said, I'm going to need you when you get back. And so, like, she flew in the Sunday night after the funeral, and, like, I just spent the whole next week with her. And you have to remember at that time, like, you know, like, my aunt and uncle, like, they had each other, and my cousin, but, like, and they were, you know, I was still seeing them, but, like, it was a little too close to comfort to be with them, because it just reminded me of my mom a lot. And I wasn't dating anybody. I was single. So I was living by myself. My ex and I had broken up. You know, my dad and my stepmom, they were very busy. So I just, you know, I was off work for a week. I took a week off. And when that Monday came around, I just, like, didn't know what to do. But that weekend was weird. And I'll probably tell this story tomorrow on my Peterisms channel, so you guys will get a double dose of this. Sorry, but I'm a little bit more rambling tonight in here, but I'll probably talk about it more specifically on there tomorrow in reference to the funeral. So it was weird because like Thursday, Caroline, my cousin, and my Aunt Kathy and I, we went and we did the funeral planning. And then I remember my cousin had to go work. And so she and my aunt own, like, they have a realty company together. And so my aunt and I went to Steak and Shake, and it was the same Steak and Shake that my mom and her used to go to when they were, like, in high school. And I'll never forget, we sat there, and the waitress came, and I was, like, so ready to have, like, a patty meal and a large fry, a large onion ring. I was so hungry. My aunt said, we'll each have a plain cheeseburger, and then we'll split a fry. And I was like, I'm getting a Whopper on the way home. So anyway, and then my aunt and I sat there and we had lunch, and then, like, I went home, and that was that Thursday, and I was so tired. I was just so exhausted, you know. And it's like, when you've spent 3 months at the hospital every day, and then all of a sudden you don't need to be at the hospital anymore, it's very weird. Like, you just don't even really know what to do with yourself, you know? It's just strange. And it's kind of like you get caught up in this, kind of, like, I don't know, this structure or this ritual of, I'm so dying for it, like a Dr. Pepper. I don't know why I keep on craving a Dr. Pepper, but I'm gonna go through McDonald's and get a Dr. Pepper. So, like, you start getting, like, very used to this, like, structure, right, that you're going through. And so it's like, I don't know, for people that have to go to, like, hospitals, for, like, parents of children, like, terminally ill children that are at the hospital for, like, years, or, you know, people that go to assisted living programs with their parents and stuff. I mean, I just, you know, it was 3 months, and I was already, like, I didn't know who I was if I wasn't at the hospital, if that makes sense. I don't know how those people do it. I really, really don't, you know? It just must be such a huge void and a reminder of your family member being gone. Do I have any change over here? I'll have to look when we get there. So I just didn't really know what to do with myself. So that was that Thursday. I went home and I just was so exhausted. I just, like, crashed. And then that Friday, I got up and I really didn't know what to do with myself. And my friend Liz called me and she said, I want to get you out of the house. Let's go buy you a suit for the funeral. I was like, no, I am just going to wear linen pants, because it was so beautiful that week. I was like, I'm going to wear linen pants and, like, an open collared shirt. And Liz called, I think Liz called my aunt, yeah, and was like, Peter plans to wear linen pants and an open collared blue shirt to his mom's funeral. And my aunt called me and she said, you need to come over here. She's like, I'm going to give you my Saks card and you need to go buy a suit. And she was like, you're going to not be disrespectful to your mother's funeral. You're going to wear a suit and tie. And then my dad called me and he was like, you're going to wear a suit and tie. And I was like, yes, I'm going to wear a suit and tie. Everybody's yelling at me about it. I'll wear a suit and tie. And I said to my aunt, I said, okay, Aunt Kathy. She was like, no, Peter. She's like, you'll look so nice. Your mother would have liked that. And my mother would have really wanted me to. My mother was not somebody that would have been like, honey, wear whatever you want to wear to the funeral. She would have been like, I think you should wear a suit and tie. That's truly what she would have said, honestly. I mean, I love my mother, but that's what she would have said. Are you kidding me? Is this McDonald's closed because they're what's going on here? My mom just liked me dressed up, you know? Hi. I'm trying to get change out here that Tanya always puts it in the side. Oh, that's good. 2 dimes and a nickel. Well, 3 dimes and a nickel. That's 35 cents. I'm on my way to a Dr. Pepper. So anyway, I said to my Aunt Kathy, I said, can I buy a pair of sunglasses? She was so sweet. She was like, I said, can I buy a pair of sunglasses when I'm there? And she was like, yeah, honey. She was like, get yourself whatever you want. So I got these Dolce & Gabbana sunglasses, and they actually, they were like, buy one, get another pair half off. And so I got 2 pairs of them. And somebody stole a pair of my sunglasses, these Dolce & Gabbana sunglasses from, I am just going to be so pissed if I am like 20 cents short. Somebody stole them from me from the Cheesecake Factory like years ago. But anyway, okay, let's see what I have in change. 25, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $1, 10, and I think it's like $1.08. $1.08. Don't you hate when people say that? $1.08. So anyway, I have to say I looked pretty snazzy at my mom's funeral, and she would have been so proud of me. My mother always liked me dressed up, and you know, she always liked me in a shirt and tie. She really did. So it would have made her really happy. I'm glad, you know, that in retrospect, I'm really glad that I dressed up and looked nice.
I think you're not there. I got another like 5 to 7 minutes for changeover. I'm almost done here. I'm about to open up the storage in a couple minutes.
Okay. I'll be back.
Okay, I'm just almost done.
Okay. I didn't go through all that to like not come back. So anyway, what does it take to open a store? And then, so that Friday, I did that. Liz was like, she was like, we need to get you out of the house. Liz's mom had passed away the year before. And so Liz kind of walked me through the whole like funeral deal, the grieving process, all of that kind of stuff. She was so awesome to me. And she was like, you know, we need to like get pictures for I had to put together that DVD of pictures, you know, for the funeral. And she's like, you need to pick an outfit for your mom, which I already knew what my mom was going to wear. She's like, we got to do, you know, the flowers. We got to go to, you know, McNamara florist. We got to pick the flowers. We've got to do that. I mean, she walked me through everything. So I did, well, no, I guess I didn't do the flower. Oh, no. My aunt said, go to the florist and pick out something that you want and just put it on my, bill there. And so I went, and I know people are gonna think this is cheesy, but like so for my mom's casket, like I picked all daisies, all white daisies. People were kind of critical of it, you know. They were like, you picked daisies for a funeral, and my mom loved daisies and she loved white tulips. And one of the things that was really, really hard was that, so my mom had this dress from the Haight-Ashbury when she was a hippie back in the day, and it was like this Indian dress, and it had like it was black, and it had like wooden beads on it. It was very cool. And she had told me for years that she wanted to be buried in it. And it had a little note that she had like a safety pin to it, and it said, you know, when I pass away, please bury me in my favorite dress from the Haight-Ashbury with a flower garland of daisies on my hair. So I had to go to McNamara, and I'll never forget the woman there that was helping me, and she was older. And my mom, and the flower garland wasn't like a hippie thing. It was like, my mom had this prayer book from when she was a little girl, and it was these little girls, and they were like, and it was a picture, and they were in this circle, and they were like holding hands with their heads tilted, and they all had these flower garlands on their head. And she had like that picture like tagged. And so I went in there, and I said to the woman, I said, I need to order flowers. And she was like, for what? And I said, my mom's funeral. And she's like, I'm so sorry. She was very sweet. And so I ordered the flowers for the casket, and I ordered a little, so I did the daisies, and then I did like a little bouquet of like white tulips. And then I said, and I need to order a flower garland for my mom's hair. And she was like, I'm sorry, I don't understand what? And I said, for the casket, I need to, like, this is what she wanted to be buried in. And the woman said to me, I'll never forget this, it was so weird. She was like, because when you think of flower garland, I think you immediately think of like Coachella, right? Or like, you know, hippies. And the woman looked at me and she said, like little girls used to wear when they would pray back in the day. And I was like, oh my God, this is like a God thing. You know, she like totally gets it. And I like had the book with me and I like showed her, and she's like, oh honey, absolutely. They didn't charge me for it. It was fantastic. It was perfect. It was exactly what my mom wanted. And so I had all that stuff done, and then I went home and I typed up her eulogy because I typed up the whole service. Oh, we had to meet with that day of the, God, that was a misery too, meeting with the pastor of my mom's church. My mom went to 2 churches. One she had always gone to, and the other one that she was real involved in. But like that one couldn't get her in that day, so we had to have her at the other church. And I'll never forget, like my mom loved lambs. And so like sheep and lambs. So we were like trying to pick out songs that had to do with that. And this guy, I'll never forget, like, he was like, yeah, we'll pick a song that has to do with like, I said, you know, like how like children are like the flock, like God's flock and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, oh yeah, I know exactly what you need. I was like, my mother loved the innocence of like lambs and things like that. So the hymn that he picked was something like Slaughter the Lambs. It was like, my mother had like so many hymns that she wanted at her funeral, and like he didn't pick any of them. But anyway, other than that, the funeral was exactly how I wanted it to be, and she got exactly the funeral that she wanted. And I think you should. I think you should get the funeral that you want. You know, like Alex doesn't want a funeral, and that was really hard for me because he was like, I don't want anything. I don't want anything. He was like, take a trip and remember me, and he was like, donate my body to medical. And I was like, no, I can't do that. He was like, yes, that's what I want. If you're gonna respect me, then do that, you know? And I was like, okay. And so finally, like recently, it was weird. I just had this moment where I just was like, I don't really care. Like once you're gone anyway. So like, if that's what Alex wants, that's what Alex wants. I mean, I'm not gonna, you know? Now secretly, I'll probably do like a celebration in his memory or something like that. Like a big party or something. Alex would like that, I think, you know? Even though he would say he wouldn't like that. I don't know. So yeah, that was like the day. And then that night I was like, Liz was like, do you want to go out tonight? I'm going to go out with some friends. And I was like, no, that's disrespectful. And I called my cousin and I said, I don't know what to do. And she was like, well, what would you do every other Friday night? And I said, go out. And she goes, then go out. And I ended up going out. And it was so funny because we went out with like 4 people, and all of them had lost their moms. And they were like so helpful to me. They were like, yeah, we're kind of like the Lost Moms group tonight. And it was just really good, you know? And then Saturday was the viewing, and all of that shit just goes so fast. But, you know, I was thinking about this today because, like, in terms of, like, my aunt, when my aunt passed away, you know, I was like, Caroline and I spent every day together, like so many hours. And, you know, we were over at my aunt's house and putting stuff together and getting everything ready. And, you know, it just was like funeral weeks are just these intense weeks, right? That you're like with all your family and you're constantly around. And I hope, you know, one of the things that I take for granted is that one of my biggest fears was that as an only child, I was really afraid I would have to go through all that alone. In retrospect, I didn't go through it alone because I had my cousin, I had my aunt, I had so many people, right? And my dad and my stepmom, they were awesome for the whole thing. My dad spoke at my mom's funeral. But you know, like, I hear so many people that fight at funerals, like over, you know, mom wanted me to have this necklace. No, she wanted me to have it, just over this petty bullshit, you know? And it's like, I feel so grateful there was none of that with my aunt's passing or my mom's passing. But, you know, the week of the funeral is so intense. Like, it's like you're hanging out every day. You're talking about memories. You're sharing memories. It's like, oh, we're going to see each other every day for the rest of our lives. You know, it's very much that Breakfast Club mentality. You know, the movie The Breakfast Club. It's like, we're going to be friends when we all leave here. And then, like, but you know, like, that's not going to be that way. And, you know, now, like, I didn't have Christmas with Caroline. I was thinking about this, you know, when I was doing that video today. Like, I haven't really talked to Caroline but Like, I saw her one time when we went to go see her son's concert. Like, that's the only time I've really talked to her since Christmas. And, you know, we're only cousins. We're only children and we're only cousins. And, you know, I just think it's weird. It's like, but, you know, life goes on and people grow apart and people grow on. And it's like, you know, you don't know, it's hard. You know, she has her own family. She has her own husband. She has her own son. I have my own husband. I have my own friends. Caroline has her own friends. And, you know, it doesn't, that intensity isn't the thing. And I always say this to people when I go to their funerals. It's like, because they're like, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. I'm like, call me in 2 to 3 weeks when people stop calling. Because so many people told me, okay, I'm your new mom and I'm going to take you here and we're going to go here and I'll be, you know, I'm going to call you every week and we're going to go have lunch. I'm like, yes, and we're, you know, sharing memories and everybody's remembering my mom and all this kind of stuff. And nobody called, you know, like my Aunt Susie, that's it. She lives in Colorado, and I don't have a lot of people around that remember my mom, you know? It's hard. Even my dad didn't really know her because they hadn't been together for like, you know, 25 years. It's hard. There's not really anybody around anymore that remembers my mom except for my cousin. And she's not big on telling memories anyway, you know? Somebody asked me in a live stream, I thought this was such an interesting question, or maybe it was a comment on a video, but I think it was in my live stream the other night. They said something about like, do you like not like to like live in the present, or I can't remember how it was said. It was said in a very nice way, but they were like, do you not like to live in the present or like, you know, make new memories? Is that why you're always talking about the past? And I'm like, okay, well, this is a vlog channel where I talk about things that have happened in my life and also on my Peterisms channel. But like, I don't walk around all day long. Like, that's why this channel is so cathartic for me, because like, I don't walk around and talk about this stuff, or, you know, I might be driving down the street and a song come on and I think about it, or think I'm gonna make this video, or while I'm making the video, think about it. But like, after the video is done, it's not like I'm sitting there thinking to myself like for hours on end, you know, I miss my mom, I miss my mom, I mean, I really don't live my life like that. I love my mom and I miss my mom, but like, I don't honestly think about her a whole lot. I just don't, you know? I mean, it's very telling to me, and maybe it's subconscious, I don't know, that I've had this videotape since Christmas or Thanksgiving, now 3 months, of my mom at my cousin's wedding, and I haven't even picked it up to go look at it. I honestly don't even think about it. It's laying right there, you know? And I haven't like really picked it up. And I don't feel like I haven't grieved. Like, I very much feel like I've grieved. And I feel like I've grieved appropriately. I think you always remember somebody. They always will mean something to you. She was my mother, you know? I love when people say, like, God, all he does is talks about his mother. And I'm like, she was my mother, you disgusting person. Why would you say that, you know? That's like saying to a parent, you know, that's lost a child, like, God, all they do is talk about their child. Or, you know, somebody that's lost a husband or a wife, all they ever do is talk about their husband or their wife. You know, it's like, why would you ever, you are a disgusting human being that would ever say that about somebody. She's my mother. I hope I talk about her till the day that I die. She meant that much to me. I think that's a tribute, you know? I know a lot of people that don't want to talk about their parents, and I'm glad that I have that relationship, because there was many, many years with my mom that I'm telling you right now, I don't know that I can say I would have been real sad, that I wouldn't have been filled with guilt, because I would have been, because we had a shitty relationship, because both of us were drinking and we were not very nice to each other, you know? So I'm glad that I can look back with fondness at all of it. I also don't want to sit around and just like ball my eyes around, you know. 2 videos in one day talking about it are enough. Don't you think? Why is this? I think this is like a police officer behind me. I don't know what he's doing.
Thanks for Dante. We are serving breakfast. Can I help you?
Can I get a large Dr. Pepper?
You got it. $1.09 for service. Thank you.
Hey, how much is it?
$1.
I think this is $1.10. I'm almost positive.
Hi, can I help you? We are serving breakfast, by the way.
Is that right? Thank you. Have a good one. I can't. Can you imagine going into work this early? Yeah, like most of you are probably like, yeah, Peter, we do it all the time. I'm getting ready right now at 4 o'clock in the morning watching your video. I need a trash can is what I need. Alex's cousin's wife's brother actually works here. But I think he doesn't come in until 5 o'clock. Because I always tell him, I'm like, I'm driving around, like, listening to audiobooks. I'm going to come in there. He's like, well, I don't come in until 5. And I'm like, I'm up that late sometimes. He's like, you really are? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, he goes, yeah, I get up at, they live at the apartment complexes right next to there. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I get up and I go over there. I'm like, at 5 o'clock in the morning? Oh my God, 5 o'clock in the morning, where you gonna be? Outside on the corner. Am I at 20? It's gonna stop right this second. Oh my God, 30 minutes. I can't believe I had gone that long. I didn't even realize it. You guys just have me talking about so much. God, rude. This poor kid with his hairnet on. Thank you so much. I said this poor kid and he's got a wedding band on. That's when you know you're getting old, okay? Let me just tell you. Oh, this poor kid. He did look young, but I'm like, he has a wedding band on. These kids, you know what? Kids are getting married younger and younger all the time. I don't know what I think about that. I mean, I don't think anything negative about it, but it's like, do you know that high school sweethearts have the highest rate of long-term relationships? That is a true story. That is truth, right? Google search it. I love the Google so much. It's Earl. How y'all doing? It's Earl. I'm living down here in Mama's basement with my moon pies. How y'all been? Mama's not. She's been very happy with me. She said the other day, she said, Earl, she said, I was up at the grocery store and you know what? She said, I didn't have enough money because I had to get me a pack of Winstons and I had to get me some condoms because Mama gonna have her a good time this week. Do y'all remember when I did Earl? Everybody hated Earl. I said, Bobby, you didn't even bring me no boom pies. Oh, come on, Lord. Okay. I have such a good time with my life. Did you know that I'm kind of fanatical about throwing shit away? Like, my car has to be spotless. I'm very bizarre about it. Can I just tell you one thing I do not understand are those gas station television stations? And what I love is like when they say, the leading, they'll be like, gas station TV, the leading gas station television station. I've said this before on here. The leading gas station television in the country. And I'm like, how many gas station television stations are they? Do they have their own syndicated television shows? Like, that makes no sense. So anyway, the moral of the story is, if you haven't gone through the passing of a close family member, you'll be just fine. You will. I hear people say to me all the time, you know, I don't know what I'll do when my mom passes away, or I don't know what I'll do when my dad passes away, or I don't know what I'll do when this happens. You'll be fine. You will be completely fine. Don't worry about it. You'll get through it. I mean, what's your alternative? You're just going to shut down and just not participate in life? No, you'll get through it. It's the weeks after that are hard, that you just kind of don't know what to do, you know? And it was weird because my friend Paul that lives in Denver, he like was so, oh God, what an amazing friend that summer. Like, he's like my fun friend. Like, he knew that I needed to get my ass out of there. I went to Denver like 6 times that summer, and I almost moved there. I was planning on moving there, and then I met Alex, and we went on our date, and then I was like, I'm not moving to Denver anymore. But anyway, he like called me like 2 weeks after my mom passed away, and he was like, how are you doing? And I was like, girl, I'm not doing all right. I said, I don't have any feelings associated to this. And his dad had passed away when he was in high school. I said, I'm numb. I'm just like real numb. And he goes, well, that's okay. He said, there's no textbook that tells you how you're supposed to feel. I said, yeah, but I don't feel anything. And he goes, there's no textbook that tells you how you're supposed to feel or not feel. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. He goes, come out here. He goes, come out here and spend a long weekend with me. So I flew out there for Pride Day in Denver that weekend, or that year. That was the first time that I went out there. I flew out there on like a Wednesday, and I came back on like a Monday, I think. Oh my God, we had so much fun. I stayed with he and his boyfriend, now his husband, and they had this gorgeous, at the time, they've moved since then, but they still live in Cherry Creek, but they had this gorgeous townhouse in Cherry Creek, and he and his husband both drive these like huge like Rubicon Jeeps, and they were like, you know, tops off, and we drive all over the place, and he had made all these CDs for us for the weekend, and they were like called like Peter's Weekend Mixes, and they had like that Estelle song, American Girl, in there, and like these like Gwen McCrae. Do you guys know Gwen McCrae back in the day? She was like this singer from back. We listened to all kinds of music, he and I, and Shalimar. Oh, it just shut off again. I was getting to a really good story too. I just shut it off, and it set internal temperature too high, so it's probably going to shut off again. But I'm so close to the end of this vlog that I'm just going to tell the story anyway. But anyway, I went out there, and he made these great CDs, and we drove all over Cherry Creek and go get our coffee in the morning and take his little Chihuahua with us. And then we would drive all over Denver. We had such a fun time that weekend. His husband took us out to dinner a couple times. There's some really neat restaurants. I had such a great time, and you know, it really got my mind away from things. And when I came back, I was very clear-headed about like what I wanted to do with my life. I wasn't very clear-headed about like moving. I wasn't sure where I wanted to be. There wasn't really anything besides my dad and my stepmom grounding me in Indianapolis anymore, so I was kind of ready to move. But other than that, like I was like, okay, this is what I want to do with my life, and I want to start writing, and I want to, because he's an artist, and I was like, I want to be very focused, you know, and so I did. I focused my life, you know, and I'm thankful to him for that. He really did that for me, you know, because he's somebody that's very driven and very determined. And yeah, so that was a great summer. And then after that, like when I met Alex was that August, and then we started dating. And, you know, like, at that point, it was, like, hard, because, like, I would try to explain to him, like, about my mom, but he didn't really get it, because, like, he had never known her, and I would show pictures and stuff like that, and I can remember I showed him, like, the DVD of, like, and you can just imagine how weird this is. I remember showing him at, like, 3 weeks, this DVD of, like, all the pictures of my mom that, you know, the funeral home gave me with the music in the background, and I'm, like, sobbing my eyes out, right? And it, like, means nothing to him, because he doesn't know who this person is. And then, for her birthday in November, we, like, go out. So my aunt was like, we're going to go to the gravesite for my mom's birthday. He was like, I don't know whose birthday I just said, his birthday, but it was my mom's birthday in November. So we're now dated from August to November. My aunt goes, we're going to go to the gravesite, and then we're going to go out to dinner. And it was really like the first time that he had, like, hung out with the family. So we go to the gravesite, and we all get out, and my aunt's like, we're going to say a prayer at the gravesite. And Alex looks at me, and he goes, I don't need to go do this, do I? I was like, no, babe, stay in the car. Like, you don't have to do this. And my aunt was like, Alex doesn't want to get out of the car and, like, participate in the prayer. I go, Aunt Kathy, he didn't even know her. And Caroline, my cousin, looks at her mom and goes, Mom, it's kind of weird, okay? This is just a private family thing. She's like, yeah, I guess. And so we left, and we go to this restaurant, and I think it's closed down now. It's like this Kincaid's Fish House or whatever. And I remember Caroline goes, she took Alex's arm, and she was like, welcome to the family, we're very weird. And then my aunt took my arm, and so my stepmom, if you didn't know, is like 20 years younger than my dad. And Alex, at the time that we started dating, he was he was 24 and I was 36. And my aunt goes, you like him young like your dad, don't you? She was like, I think that your dad, she goes, I think that Debbie, my stepmom, was the exact same age as Alex was when they started dating. I was like, I think she was 22 actually, not 24, but whatever. So she's like, you like him young. My aunt and Alex, they had such an incredible relationship and she loved him so much. And my husband could not even walk in the room at the funeral to see her there. He was so devastated. He was so devastated. And, you know, I'm so thankful that he got to really know her because she was such a big piece of my mom, you know, and I can remember that, you know, she would say to Alex, like, you know, oh, Peter's mom would just have loved you so much. She would have wanted you to teach her how to dance in the kitchen and do her hair. And so, you know, there's like things that I miss about all of that. But I'm so glad, you know, that like I get to be a part of Alex's family. And I get to, you know, I met his grandpa before his grandpa passed away. And I know his abuela. And, you know, like she lives with his mom. And I know his whole family. And I know all of them. And I'm a part of that family now, you know. And so it's like, and he knows all of the members of my family now, minus my mom, and that's what I think like is a really great part of marriage. And so you want to participate in that, you know, you want to participate in your family, and you want to get involved in all of that stuff because it is important and it does mean something, you know, it just really does. Family's awesome, and when you have a small family like I do, like it means even more to you. Because you don't ever know how long those people are going to be around and you're going to have family, you know what I mean? It just shut off again, damn thing. It just shut off again, the damn thing. And I literally turned around and just turned it right back on. So I'm going to bid you good night, as the Grateful Dead said. And I love you guys. And I will see you tomorrow. I hope you're having a wonderful week. I love you. Bye.